Okay, here's where we're at currently. I've removed almost everything I'm going to remove here. There's a lot of resin up here. I'm not sure, I don't know if it was penetrating epoxy or what, but it's like stone. But I've removed a lot of it. I'm going to get rid of the rest of this. I'm going down, as you can see, through the old plywood and fiberglass to what appears to be that tongue and groove stuff. I think this is the back of it. There's just a little bit of punkiness behind there. I'm going to try to penetrate that. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to scarf this. I can't really redo the whole beam without demolishing the entire deck, and I don't want to do that. That'll probably cause more problems than it solves. I think I can make this strong enough with a scarf and sister kind of thing in oak. Although this appears to be pitch pine, I think, this beam, which is kind of strange. Back here, I thought initially the rot on this 4.5 beam wasn't so great, but it's rotten all the way back. You can see there where it touches the plywood, there's just a void of mush that goes the whole length of it. So my task today is to try to insinuate my body in the space to the extent that I can remove the rest of that. It's not going to be fun. And also get rid of some of the plywood. Some of the deck ply is rotten. Yeah. It's going to be a ton of fun, let me tell you. Whoa. Well, it's October 1st or September 30th or something like that. It's been raining for days. I've been working. I worked all day and it rained yesterday. It was awesome. It's been raining. But we finally got a dry day. I got the whole day here before I go to work tomorrow. We got some sun. We got a leaf blower. A couple of days ago, I was in West Marine getting some of the usual stuff, filler and things like that, and I noticed on the shelf they had a quart of one of the colors of paint that I want for the top sides of the boat. The price was a little bit more than ordering it online. They don't have it here, but so I figured, what the heck, and I'm going to try to get some paint on the inside of the bulwarks on the foredeck. The hull, it's very unlikely the hull is going to get painted before winter really sets in for a number of reasons. But I really would like to just get some final paint over this. This primer isn't going to last forever, you know. I might even do the aft deck today, or at least get started on it. First, I have to mask everything very carefully. All right, that is looking pretty good. Let's add some brown paper to the deck, because I know I'm going to spill. I know I'm going to spill. The bowsprit, by the way, is going to be glossy white, just like the housetop. And that's all I'm going to tell you for now, because there is another accent color, aside from the color you're going to see today. But it's top secret. What was I doing? Oh yeah, paper. All right, we're pretty much ready to get started. The bulkhead I'm gonna just deal with later. I might move on, put a little paint on the aft deck area, and then come back to that once the sun comes around. I'd rather hit this while I've got the sun in the east shining directly on it. And I see a trouble spot. I think I have to sand something there, right over there. What we're putting on here is some Pettit's Easy Epoxy, the Seattle Gray, which I think is going to look lovely, especially with the top secret accent color. They're not a sponsor or anything like that. I wish they were, because this bad boy costs almost $60 US. Yeah, not much cheaper online, and then there's going to be shipping costs. This battery tray, I gave away the old batteries to a guy here at the yard. And these trays, which I probably won't reuse, are perfect for stuff like this. So I'm going to keep all the paint that's open in here while I'm working, because I know if I just had a can sitting here or just this roller tray, although I'm going to brush it on, it would wind up going all over the place. It's already pretty well mixed. I'm surprised, but I do see some white coming up. That ought to do it. Waste not, want not, especially at $50-some a quart. Ooh, easy. I'm going to take a chance and not go over this old paint with new primer here. We'll see how that works out. Very runny. It's not all that hot, so it's going to want to be runny. Actually, I could do this part with the big brush. In fact, I should start low, because I'm going to wind up getting it all over my hands. Even though I don't have gloves, I have to touch things like the camera and whatnot. This is pretty tight in here. I'm going to have to kind of dab it, which is what was done before from the looks of it. But that's fine. No one's going to be looking under here, and if they do, they will be pushed overboard. I decided keel hauling is just too much work, so any nitpickers on board this vessel will be just thrown overboard. Maybe I'll tie an anchor to their leg real quick as they go over the side. I can tie I can tie a clove hitch pretty quickly. This is not a great brush for tipping, but it'll get me in there. Let's see. I like this gray already. I think it's going to look good against the teak, whether it's dry or wet. The cool thing about raw teak is that it looks very old when it's dry and silvery, but when it gets wet, it looks really nice, I think. Don't want to get it on the teak now. It's dripping, it's pooling in there. I hope I put enough tape in there. Okay. Almost time for the good brush. It's definitely hiding pretty well. It's not filling very well, but this is very good paint. It's not really, I've got some cracks that I didn't really see before. I'm hoping it's going to fill those. I hope a lot. Someone once commented that you sure do a lot of hoping. Yeah, well, you kind of have to in my situation. That's all I've got is hope. That's a pernicious little crack, isn't it? It would have been great to strip every speck of old paint off this boat, but it's just not within the reasonable scope for me this year. There's so many other things that have to be done. I need to make sure I have a strategy here for moving because of the irregular shape and the fact that it's such close quarters. Boy, I'm just highlighting those cracks, aren't I? Wow. I guess my strategy will be to just keep moving back to both sides and keep moving back. When I get to the very end, I got to be real careful I don't touch the opposite side with my feet. I see I've already brushed against the wet easy fare that I put on the aft bulkhead part of this. Well, there's the first pass. The verdict is I like the color a lot. Coverage is pretty good. I'm going to have to do some touch up. I may just do a full second coat because it is a gloss paint. It's hard to touch up gloss paint without it being too obvious. It's not super fair. It was never meant to be. It's an old wooden sailboat. I'm not interested in trying to make her look brand new or look like she's made out of fiberglass or something like that. Yeah, I do like the color. It was a good choice. I'm gonna see about maybe doing the aft deck in a minute. But first I gotta change the battery because this one barely lasted half an hour with a full charge. Thanks, GoPro. I was masking around the bulwarks in the aft deck area and kind of touching up, sanding things like this old epoxy repair I did about a year ago, and I noticed some new rot coming from behind. Still quite wet. It's hard to see what's going on below, so I didn't notice it before. Yeah, I won't be putting paint on this today. I've dug it out. I gotta dig out some more. I'm gonna let it dry out. I'm expecting a few days of dry weather. So I'm gonna let it dry out, get some penetrating epoxy on this part, then fill it with thickened epoxy. As for the cause, the latest culprit seems to be this area. I just finished reefing out the Sikaflex that was there, which was okay. It looked like, 98% all right, but there was a slight gap. And right here, I can't really see it in this camera angle, there's a screw. And I think that's possibly where water was coming in and dribbling down and yada, yada, yada. So I've reefed it out. I've masked the area. I am, of course, out of Sikaflex today. I don't really have time to go get more today. So I'm just going to let everything dry out, let it sit a bit, and then get some more Sikaflex on there and address the rotten, the void. As for the foredeck, I applied this paint a few hours ago. It's still tacky, and of course there's stuff stuck to it. It's a windy day. There's stuff flying around. Let me see if I can't, I don't want to scrape it. Yes, success. Come on. Oh, come on. You know you want to come up. Yes. Excellent. I may do another coat on this anyway, but I'd rather not. Ah, shoot. Come on. Come off of there. I don't think I've ever tried this trick before with the tape. Nice. Maybe I should wait till it's a little drier. But it looks okay. I do like the color. The gloss has calmed down a little bit, which is fine. It was a little too glossy. It's highlighting all the little imperfections. But I don't know. Maybe a touch up with, I don't know. I'm gonna let it cure and then look at it again. Anyway, no painting back here today, but there's a couple more things I can do with the daylight I have left. I'm not going to put paper down yet, but I am going to mask the bronze, those two holes. I forget what they're called. Hawses? I don't know. But you get the picture. I've got to put tape on them and then cut around them. It would, of course, be best to remove them, to unbed them, paint, and rebed them, but every time I pick at anything on this boat, I find an unpleasant surprise, so I'm not going to do that anymore if I can help it. Awesome. Perfect. No, anyway, I'm not sure of. Let's just put another piece on it. I'm gonna press it in front of me. This thing looks like it's really good, so it's really good. I'm not really good. I'm going to just pop it. Get the rest of them. Up to the edge right here. So that's just fine. Okay. And put that in the front. I'll on the top. No. Yeah, okay. Make that something. Let's put something underneath. That's how I was. And there's a little bit of I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know what some parts seem to work on it, but it is. There's a chemical mix that's not working on this. It's going to be well, so then fun things to remember with some bronze wool or something. Get the little tiny bits, little imperfections. Otherwise, it's always going down here. That's the arch. And of course, that's always it. Will, it's going on. All right, that's done. The masking anyway. This I'm gonna mask later. I got to do another coat of primer. I've got some thicker primer to finish that up with, but I want to take care of that business first, and I'm probably gonna prime all this old tan paint because I got a couple bare spots and things like that. So when I'm ready to do that primer, I'm going to mask the teak along the edge of that bulkhead and just bang out the whole thing with primer. And I hope within a week or so get a nice coat of Seattle gray on this whole area. But today, because I got a couple more hours, I might just start seeing about taking the rest of this peeling paint off the house top. It too is going to get a coat of Seattle gray. The roof is going to get glossy white. Yeah, this paint, every day, every time I come to the boat, I see another area that's peeling. The primer underneath looks pretty good. We will see. I'm going to take the heat gun to this and see what's up. I may have to do another coat of primer. I may have to fair it a little bit. It looks like it was done with peel ply. And you can see some texture around the corners in particular. The happy news is that there is no rot and there are no leaks. There are no leaks around the portholes. There's no leaks around the companionway hatch frame. There's no leaks around the grab handles. There's no leaks in the house top, which is a beautiful thing. But as long as I'm rolling out, or as long as I'm brushing out the Seattle gray, I may as well put a coat on here.